Let's say that you have an analog signal like an electric voltage, and this signal is used as the input for a linear time invariant or LTI system, like a filter or some other electric circuit. You have two main ways to calculate the system output signal. First, you can use convolution and convolve the input with the system's impulse response in the time domain. Second, you can convert both the input and the impulse response to the Laplace domain, multiply them together, and then find the inverse Laplace transform. In this video, we're going to work through an example that uses the Laplace domain approach. This particular example requires us to perform partial fraction expansion, which often comes up in these kinds of problems. Okay, so for this example, we're already given the system transfer function h of s, and we're also given the time domain input x of t. So the Laplace transform of the impulse response is going to be h of s, and in this case we have 1 over 1 plus tau times s. Tau is an arbitrary real positive constant, so it could be a number like 2, but we'll just leave it as tau. So this h of s is fairly simple as a transfer function, but it's actually an important one. We won't get into the details right now. We'll do that in a future video. But this is actually a simple low-pass filter. So the transfer function of a simple low-pass filter. Low-pass filters are used in many applications, like audio subwoofers and wireless communications. So here we're given the x of t equal to t. But I want to first talk briefly about some special cases of simple inputs. So if our x of t had simply been an impulse, so small delta of t, this would be the case of an impulse. By definition, the output corresponding to this input is the system impulse response. So the corresponding Laplace domain x of s, we use uppercase when we go to the Laplace domain, that's simply equal to 1. If that were the case, then our output y of s, which would be equal to x of s times h of s, would then just be equal to h of s. And that's consistent with the definition of the system transfer function and the system impulse response. Another special case is if our input x of t is equal to a step function. This is u of t. So that's going to be equal to 1 if t is greater than or equal to 0. And that's equal to 0 for t less than 0. So the step function goes from 0 to 1 at time 0 and then stays at 1 for all time. That special case would give us an input x of s equal to 1 over s. And so then our y of s in that case would be h of s times x of s, or simply h of s over s. So we don't actually have either of these special cases for this problem, but I just wanted to review the two of those. Here we have the ramp function. So x of t is equal to t. So at time 0, this is a function that starts going up. We'll assume that this is a causal function, so it's equal to 0 for time less than 0. But now if we proceed with the actual question here, we have x of t equal to t. We can use the table of Laplace transforms to find that our x of s in this case is going to be equal to 1 over s squared. So now our output y of s, which is equal to x of s times x of s, is going to be, here we have 1 over s squared times 1 over 1 plus tau times s. So here we have a product of fractions, and in order to find the inverse Laplace transform, we're going to find it useful to use partial fraction expansion. So we want to turn this product of fractions into a sum of fractions. We'll start by writing this in a general form. So we can say that this is equal to, here we have basically actually 3 different denominators. We have our 1 plus tau times s, we have s, and we have another s. So because we have a repeated term here in the denominator, we need to account for this when we write out our potential coefficients. So I'm going to take care of this term first, and we're going to say the partial fraction expansion is this unknown coefficient constant a, which we need to find, over 1 plus tau times s. And then for each of the s's here, we need to write a separate unknown term for each power of s. So we end up with b, this is another unknown constant, b over s plus c over s squared. Equivalently, we could have written this as bs plus c over s squared, which we'll effectively do in a moment anyway, but I like to write them out separately here to start. So what we need to do, we need to combine, we need to rewrite this term here now into a single fractional form, and then we need to solve for the individual components so we can find out our a, our b, and our c. So if we try to find a common denominator here, which we already know will be the denominator over here on this side, we know that we'll end up with, I'll give us a bit more space, so I'm going to say that our y of s is going to be equal to a multiplied by s squared plus b times s multiplied by 1 plus tau times s plus c times 1 plus tau times s. So that's what's needed in order to write the a, b, and c terms into a single fraction, where in the denominator we have now s squared over 1 plus tau times s. Now we can take the numerator and multiply it all out so we can see all of our individual terms. So we have as squared plus b times s plus b times tau times s squared plus c times tau times s. And again, that's all over s squared times 1 plus tau times s. So that's what we get here for the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, we also know that this y of s is just equal to 1 over s squared times 1 plus tau times s. So we can say that this is equal to 1. So what we're able to do now is to write a system of equations where we can combine together the common powers of s, and then we'll be able to write equations for being able to solve for a, b, and c. So we'll start by the constant terms, so the terms of power s to the 0. On the left-hand side, for that case, we still have 1. On the right-hand side, we're looking for terms that have a power s to the 0, and that's only for c. So right away, we know that c is equal to 1 in order for the left-hand side to be equal to the right-hand side. Actually, that's not 1, that is 1 over s squared times 1 plus tau s. Okay. In any case, 1 is equal to c. If this is for, let's say, s to the 0. If we look at s to the 1, on the left-hand side, we don't have anything. We don't have any terms with just a single s in the numerator. On the right-hand side, we have b, and we have c times tau. But we already know that c is equal to 1. So from this we can see that b plus tau will be equal to 0. That means that b is equal to negative tau. Okay, so we've already found c and we found b. For the case of s squared, again on the left-hand side numerator we don't have any terms, so that's just 0. On the right-hand side we have a and we have b times tau. But we already know that b is equal to minus tau, so that means that a minus tau squared will equal 0. So from that we immediately get that a is equal to tau squared. So we've already found the a, the b, and the c constants, so we can basically go back and fill these in to our original expression that we wrote up here. So we can say that y of s, this is the Laplace domain output of this system. that's going to be equal to tau squared over 1 plus tau times s, plus b, which is minus tau, so that's minus tau over s, plus c over s squared. C is equal to 1, so this is plus 1 over s squared. Now all we have to do is take the inverse Laplace transform of the y of s to get our time domain output y of t. Equivalently, we need to take the inverse Laplace transform of each of these three fractions. Now this first one here that has 1 plus tau s in the denominator, it's actually a bit easier to write that where the s is by itself. So we can divide the numerator and the denominator by tau. So I'm just going to rewrite this first. So if we divide the numerator by tau, we just get tau. Then in the denominator we get 1 over tau plus s. And then our other two terms are the same, minus tau over s plus 1 over s squared. Okay, now from the table of Laplace transforms, we can see that this first fraction here is equal to tau times 1 over s plus a constant. So this converts in the time domain to an exponential term. So if we start writing our time domain y of t, which is just the inverse Laplace transform of y of s, this term here will correspond to a t multiplied by an exponential e to the negative 1 over tau times t. We can just call that negative t over tau. Here we have negative tau over s. We'll recall up here that the step function converted to 1 over s. Here we have tau times the step function. We're assuming causality, so our output is only defined for time greater than 0. So we can just say then that in the time domain, 1 over s is equal to 1. So that just leaves us with minus tau. And now this 1 over s squared, we already know that that's equal to the ramp function here. So we can say then that this plus 1 over s squared is going to be plus t. So we'll tidy this up a little bit. We can combine together our two terms that have a tau. So we're left with t plus tau. And then inside the brackets we have e to the negative t over tau minus 1. And this, just to be clear, we'll say that this is defined for time greater than or equal to 0. Let's put a little box around the expression here. So we have our simple low-pass filter here, which has this transfer function. We pass an input that is a ramp. Our output y of t is basically the same ramp function again, but now we add on this exponential term. And again, we're assuming that this time is defined only for time greater than or equal to 0. And that's it. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, let me know. You can leave a comment with any feedback or subscribe for more of this series on signal processing. There's also a lecture notes PDF in the description. See you next time.